Hey everyone, welcome to Watch the Tech. I'm your host, Seth Klebe, and today we're just going to dive right into it. First and foremost, the watch that I'm wearing for this episode. This is my Rolex Yachtmaster. It's 40 millimeters in dark rhodium. I absolutely love this thing. And the second piece of information to know before this episode kicks off is actually a little bit of an Easter egg. So I have in my hand this mysterious piece of technology. And that is actually all you're going to get. So listen in, you'll find out a whole lot more, and I hope you enjoy. CJ, Tyler, welcome to Watch the Tech. How are you guys doing?
Good, thanks.
Doing great. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Well, what's so cool about this before we begin is how I heard about your company, your new, young, developing company, Fulcrum Wearables, is a friend of mine who, she's actually like just starting to get into watches, but this was even before that. She texted me, I think it was like a link or an article on Fulcrum, and she was like, "These guys are cool. You should get them on your podcast." And I had like two immediate thoughts. The first one was, these guys stole my idea, which I've had for years, and I'm sure you've gotten that.
Yeah,
Have you? Yeah.
it's no one has original thoughts these days. I feel like
Yeah.
it's hard to think. Oh, this hasn't been done before. And to be honest, this is an original thought on our part. We saw that other people have done this, so we're just hoping to do it the best way, the right way, So
I love it. Well, yeah, so it was like, first things first, these guys are thieves. Second, I was like, I absolutely need to get these guys on my podcast. Like, there's very few things more Watch the Tech than what you're building. So I'm like, this is right up the gut. So pumped to have you guys both here. So I just want to start with that.
Absolutely.
I felt like it was a fit. I saw the name. I didn't need to look into it anymore. Watch and technology.
Right. Yeah, the name, the creativity of the name I came up with, right? Just
hey, it works. It speaks to what you talked about. So
perfect. Well, we're definitely going to go and get deep into Fulcrum Wearables and exactly what you guys are. But first, maybe we'll do a little bit of a wrist check. Are you guys wearing some mechanical watches today?
We are.
I'm not wearing a mechanical watch, but I am wearing a watch.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my tried and true Casio diver watch, and the reason I love it so much is because Bill Gates wears this watch, and as someone who is just an inspiration for so many, I think it deserves some respect. So I like to rep it as much as I can. So
okay. I love it.
Today, I've got my workhorse on, which is my Seiko 5 Sport, always on my wrist. I brought a couple others with us today. If it's not the Seiko on my wrist, it's usually my About Vintage 1956 Marine Automatic, which I'm a big fan of. Little niche brands.
Okay.
But yeah,
Got it.
And I do have a mechanical watch with me. It is a Citizen. It's called the 21 Jewel Gent. It's a 1970s classic vintage watch, and I love it. But it's not my workhorse. It's something more I like to dress up with. So
nice, awesome. Okay. We've got some niche action on the wrist. I like it. See, I went just tried and true Rolex today. Nothing niche about it.
Can't beat it. It's way cooler though. You don't have to explain what kind of watch it is. Anybody knows what it is. There's no discrepancy. It is a Rolex, and it deserves that respect. So.
That is true, but of course, like, I'm sure you're in circles with other people that like watches. It's like all they want to do is like tell you about it.
Oh yeah.
Even though you already probably know. They're like, no, but let me tell you. Let me really tell you.
Is insane. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's nothing more crazy, and there's no one more passionate than someone who like loves microbrands.
Yes, 100%.
And we are Microbrand guys.
I'm definitely guilty of that. I'm not gonna lie.
And that has to deal with maybe the cost of a Rolex, but that's the great part is there's so many options, and people have made fantastic watches, and in such affordable price ranges nowadays. So do I wish I had a Rolex? 100%. But it's just
We'll get there.
It's a
Pre-order
goal.
open now.
Yeah.
Hey, absolutely. That's what I'm talking about, right? You got to have a goal, and you obviously have to tie that goal to getting a watch. And when the business takes off, you get whatever watch you want.
The only reason we have this company is to buy more watches.
Feed the
It's all
addiction.
means to an end,
Yeah.
Same. Yeah, I get that 100%. I was getting a haircut yesterday. Admittedly, most of the time I do it myself, but I got a grown-up haircut. And I was talking to my barber, and he was just telling me that he was like starting to get interested in watches. And we started talking a little bit about like, he was like, what are some of the brands to look out for? And like, we got on the Microbrand train a little bit. So I was like, like if you want to just get in and get something that's not crazy expensive, but is super well made, you've got to start taking a look at some of these watches. I think I threw out Baltic and Bremont, a couple other. I mean, Bremont's been around forever, but I still think they kind of get the Microbrand labeling. Yeah. Well, guys, let's talk a little bit about Fulcrum. We've been dancing around it, but like, let's get into it a bit. Maybe just to start it off, like, elevator pitch me about what is Fulcrum Wearables. Let's start there.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and kick that off. So the idea of Fulcrum Wearables came from a really close friend of mine who had recently bought a Cartier tank. And he is an engineer like me, and he's at work, and he mentioned, he's like, yeah, I really like this watch. I spent a lot of money on it. I saved up for it, but I need to wear my Apple Watch. And so he's double fisting an Apple Watch and a Cartier. And I asked him about it. I'm like, you spent all this money on your watch. Why are you still wearing an Apple Watch? He's like, well, I work out a lot, and I have all these meetings that I need to get notifications from, and I just don't want to be out of the loop. So, it's just going to be what I have to do for now. And so that got me thinking, why can't we have a way to kind of turn any watch into a smartwatch? And we did some digging, and we found there's some options out there, but there was really nothing that came close to a real smartwatch, something that can track everything in the health and biomed sector, and also give you like the notifications and tap controls and all this sort of stuff that's coming out these days. So I talked to my very close friend CJ here, and I hit him up with the idea of like, how can we turn a watch into a smartwatch? And so we got to thinking, and we realized it has to be something really small, really thin, a form factor that you won't even realize when you're wearing the watch. And so we came up with the Fulcrum X1, which is basically this puck that you place underneath your watch, and it attaches using microsuction. That is, yeah. There you go.
This little guy.
That is the print. That is the mold of what it looks like. And unfortunately, we couldn't get you the working one because we just got the boards, but we do have. That is the circuit board. That's the battery. That's the motor. This is an all connected, all working
little de-lidded unit for you.
Yeah, unit. And so it has all the functionalities that you're used to with a smartwatch in terms of health. You got heart rate, blood oxygen, sleep tracking, exercise tracking. You get notifications through haptic feedback, and you can control it through tapping your wrist. So let's say you want to skip a song or start a workout or answer a call. You can have different amount of taps for a different amount of controls. And it's something we want people to customize. We don't want this to be the main part of what you're wearing. Your watch, the thing that you spent all this time researching and saving up for, is what you should be repping. And we just want to be an accessory to that. We want to give you the opportunity to not miss out on the things that everyone else is getting in that space and allow you to wear these beautiful timepieces. So that's the idea.
I love it. I mean, it resonates so well for me. What's the name of your coworker who got the Cartier tank?
Viraj. Yeah.
All right, Viraj Patel.
Yeah.
Shout out, man!
Yeah,
like,
shout out to Viraj.
you're an inspiration.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And honestly, like it was really eye opening to me because I was getting into watches, and like the price tag is something that like everyone kind of realizes when they get in there, and it was just such a shock. You're wearing a $200 Apple Watch with the same level as these $9,000 Cartiers, and it's just they shouldn't be equal. So I think have the smartwatches in today, they kind of replaced a lot of timepieces for a lot of people, and I want to reverse that trend. Have people bring back the personalized and individual watches that they love. So
And I think over the
Yeah.
last couple of years too, we've seen a resurgence in personal identity and basically like what you want to be for yourself and like the accessories you adorn yourself with. But I think there's been a big resurgence in personal identity, and even going back to smartwatches, we've seen all of these little brands pop up to make your Apple Watch look less like an Apple Watch, so that not everyone's wearing the exact same piece of black metal and glass on their wrist. And so we found a little area where we thought we might be able to sneak in and help you share who you are, find your own identity, but also keep you connected the way you want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, it really does resonate with me, and it's funny when you were saying like you want people to like have the personal style return, and so like getting them to wear the watches that they love. It made me think about. Are you guys familiar with the brand Moser?
Yes, I am.
They're definitely an independent brand. They've been around like 200 years. They did a watch, an absolute beauty mechanical watch that they like modeled after an Apple Watch to completely just make fun of how it is just so uniform and like boring.
Yeah, I saw that. And the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, why am I seeing a picture of an Apple Watch? And then I read, I was like, oh, this is an actual mechanical watch, and it was super impressive to see. But it definitely hit on the note of like, I think the statistic is Apple Watches are the most popular watches today, and that's unfortunate, because it doesn't bring the heritage of what a watch is. It's a phone on your wrist, and I think a watch deserves way more than that. So
yeah, the idea for me of wearing an Apple Watch like causes anxiety. Like I get so many notifications as is. I spend more than enough time on my phone. I do not need a phone on my wrist, like you so eloquently said. And with Fulcrum, what you guys provide is like exactly what something like me I want as someone who's active. I like having that kind of data. I used to have, so my like tech setup used to be mechanical watch, and then I had a Fitbit. And I did that mix for years until one fateful evening when my dog, who was new, destroyed it. And I was like, I just decided, I was like, okay, let's try to like not do it. I didn't love wearing it. Like even their thinnest Fitbit was still just like thick. It has a presence. I'm like, I don't want that at all. So for years now, I have not had any form of that data on sleep, blood pressure, steps. Like I've kind of foregone all of that. The closest thing I have is like when I go to an Orange Theory class, you can put the armband on. But it's like, okay, cool. So for an hour, I have that data, and then it goes away. It's not consistent, persistent, etc. So I can't wait for this puck to be like the real one, so I can actually test it out. That's just going to be super cool.
I'm very excited to get this in people's hands, a working product and an 100%. App that they can use and they can give us feedback on. It's going to be intimidating, but I'm really looking forward to it after this long.
Yeah, I mean, 3 years to like get to this point, right when you're on the precipice of it, like that's got to be exciting, nerve-wracking, all of the above. Totally. Well,
never felt before, I can tell you that.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, if you need any observability on that iOS and Android app, Observe Inc., where I work, logs, metrics, traces, baby. Like,
shout out.
We've got you. Shout out. They've actually, I don't even know if they've ever been shouted out on the show. So enjoy the free endorsement, Observe Inc.
We finally found mesh there.
Yeah, clearly. Well, speaking of mesh, y'all's backgrounds kind of feel like a match made in heaven for this company. Because correct me if I'm wrong, CJ, you work at AWS, and Tyler, you're at Northrop, right?
Yes.
Got it. And so like you've got like the mechanical engineering side of it, like you've got, and the industrial engineering side of it, you've got the software side of it. So that's like true kismet. But how do you guys actually know each other, and how did you meet?
Yeah, so we actually met, we were 10. Yeah, we met beginning of middle school, way back now. Yeah, 2010, 2011.
I think it's been 14 years.
It's been 14 years. So we both grew up in the same hometown, went to the same middle school and high school, and then I moved out to Arizona for college, and I managed to talk him into getting out here a few years after that. So we kind of rejoined forces again a few years ago. It was actually right around the time we started working on Fulcrum.
Yeah, and this guy is the reason I am an engineer today. You know, he worked in IT in like high school, and he was always into the these different you know, gaming was the biggest thing, right? You're in high school, you want to play video games, and he built me this really parts, put together gaming computer and all this sort of stuff, and I think that genuinely gave me an interest in engineering because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and so the fact that we kind of have this perfect software and hardware side to us, and we've known each other for this long, and we haven't stopped being friends for this long, I think it just kind of made sense, and honestly, we know each other so well that it's we know when something's wrong, we know when something's working out. You know, you know.
Unspoken critical feedback.
Yeah. You bring up an idea and you can tell from the silence what the answer's about to be. So.
Right. It's almost like a band, right?
Yes,
that
exactly.
they can tell the other without telling the other that they think the riff they just played is shit.
Yeah.
And have that be okay, and they don't want to kill each other out it.
I think being kids, you know, we've fought enough when we were, you know, little teenagers. You know, we got that out of our systems, you know. So.
Right, and now you're just on to straight business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a goal in mind. We're gonna hit it.
Yeah, we have a common enemy now.
Yeah.
It is trying to figure out every problem we run into at this
Exactly.
place.
There we go. And so y'all bonded over video games. Do you still play video games today?
When we have time, yeah. It's been definitely a hectic last couple of months.
Yeah, I never really was super into video games. I did have a Game Boy growing up, and I played Pokemon on that thing. That was
I saw your post. You're a big Pokemon fan. I really like the renditions you made. Those are actually pretty cool. Yeah, my favorite.
Thank
one,
you.
I think you made what was it, a Bulbasaur or something like that?
I did a Rolex with a Bulbasaur.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the blue dials, and you put a Pokemon on that. That's actually kind of cool. I'm high key down with that. I think they should. They should get a collaboration, you know, going.
Okay.
I'll put that on my list. You want it to be sleek, you know. And I think
there's a market.
There is a market.
There is absolutely a market. Yeah, the blue ones I did. I did a Squirtle, Wartortle, Blastoise progression with Rolex. And it's funny. Thank you for the compliment on that. Crazy enough, as far as Instagram goes, the only thing from Watch the Text Instagram that has gone viral was one of those watches. Actually, it's been two of them that have actually gone, they've gotten over 1 million views, hundreds of thousands of likes, were those designs, which have nothing to do with the podcast at all. You know?
That's
and I was just
interest, and people want it.
Come on.
Nostalgia's back.
So, people want
100%. 100%. Yeah. I've actually, because of the watch industry that I've, my toes are kind of dipped into, I've been able to get pretty high up at a couple of brands. Two thus far have told me no. Omega and Audemars Piguet. They were like, absolutely not. I'm not done with them, though. So if you're listening, Omega, if you're listening, Audemars Piguet, it's not over.
It's not over yet. Swatch, you know, that Omega Swatch pipeline is there for you, you know?
Yeah.
So they're loosening the reins, I think.
I know we're now just frivolously off topic, and that's perfect. that's perfectly fine for this podcast. So, for y'all, you're working full time and you're building a company. How do you balance that? That can't be easy.
Minimal sleep. That's probably the big one.
Yeah, it's not a 5 to 9 after work. It's like a 5 to 12. You know, so
it's a 5 to 9, but the AMs and PMs really get blurred.
Yeah. And I think a big factor also is the fact that we have our separate specialties.
Yeah. That
really allows us to kind of dig deep on our end. We can get really far in one area that we maybe need improvement, and then we can bring that up, you know, sit down together and be like, okay, this is where I'm at. What kind of marks do you have on my work? You know, what do I change? That way we're not spending the whole time going back and forth, and it's, you know, we both work in huge tech companies or huge engineering companies, and we know what red tape is, you know. And
Yes.
so when it's just two of us, there's no reason for red tape. You know, we know what to do. We have an idea. We just check in and we get our work done. And then, you know, a couple days a week we'll come, you know, together, you know, at either of our house. And if we need to fit something or feel how it works out, then we can, and then we take our changes back to our house and we just grind and grind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a pro of having worked now in both remote or hybrid work for so long is that we've gotten very good at working asynchronously. So to Tyler's point, there's always something specifically one of us has to be working on. So we don't always have to be together in the same room, heads down, working on the same problem, though. That is usually where a lot of our best ideas come from. So we try to make space for that too.
Yeah.
But a lot of what we end up doing is, you know, logging off at 5 p.m. and then logging on at 5:01 p.m. to clock in on some issue that needs to be resolved.
Yeah, lots of DoorDash.
Lots of DoorDash.
That's a big help as well.
Yeah, shout out Dash Pass.
Yeah. You know, if I was using our X1 to track my sleep, I think my sleep score would be pretty bad right now.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. We're getting close, and it's just always that feeling of when you know you're right there, and there's just all those small little bumps. You know, the small little things you got to iron out. That's really where we are right now, and we've had a lot of time to kind of understand what the ethos and the background of what we want our product to be, so we know we kind of have that vision in mind, which keeps us grounded. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. You have to know your vision and what you're driving towards, like keeping that end in mind, and then kind of reverse engineering it from like the small steps that get you there. It's like that's the key, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a big part of our initial design process too, was especially working with something so technical and complicated, it's hard to like choose where to start. And so a lot of our initial design meetings were, what do we want as a company? What are like our driving missions? And we'll build a product that meets our customers, our prospective customers' needs and wants, but also ultimately what's important to us, and then kind of work backwards from that. Which largely, I think one of the big driving factors for us too has been data privacy. We talk a lot about the new heightened individualization of products and services. However, everything is a data collecting gadget nowadays. It's that old homage goes, if you're not paying for the product, you're the product. And more frequently, that comes up in everything that we buy, encounter, go out and about. When you're walking on the street, you're getting recorded. So that was one of our main driving principles, and that's one of the areas we work backwards from. So that deviates a little bit from the question, I know, but it's one of those kind of topics we got to work backwards from.
Yeah,
Totally.
totally.
We're not scamming people out of their information, and this is health information too. This is very private information. We don't want to be taking that from people. We're not interested in what your circumstances are, and we don't want to sell it to some company either. We want you to be confident that this is just for you. This is for your health, provider. If they need information, we're not going to be here to take it and sell it somewhere else. And I do want to add on to that is when you own a Whoop or an Oura ring and you have to pay to use something that you bought, I find that egregious. And we want to be a product for both high-end watch users and people who are just getting into it. We're not going to price gate you out of getting this information. We want it to be accessible for you. And we want it to be a good product. So that's kind of, we might have a higher initial cost, but we're not going to charge you after the fact. So
2 words. Fuck yeah. The reason why is I just learned that with the Oura ring, that you have to pay $5 a month or something for it's you're already buying a very expensive piece of technology, which will, become antiquated in a few years and you need to go get another one anyways. These subscriptions, that actually really turned me off on the Oura ring. Also, I did think about getting one because I do want that data, and I didn't really love the idea of wearing that ring. I also just got engaged, which means another ring is going to happen at some point, and so I don't want to be that guy that has a watch and 2 rings. That's Captain Jack Sparrow. I don't need that in my life. It's too much.
No, I completely understand, and congratulations, by the way, on your engagement.
Thank you.
I am also recently engaged as a year ago or so.
Oh, cool.
So I get the feeling, you don't want to be ringed up all the time. And personally, I'm not a ring person. It's just not something I'm comfortable with, and that's my personal style. I don't want to have to be subjected to that. So.
And honestly, we're shifting the problem. We're going from double fisting a Apple Watch or a Fitbit and a mechanical watch, and now you're wearing 2 rings too.
Let me ask you guys. So, obviously, you're doing this with 0 sleep. at all. And I'm sure your fulcrum is like telling you, it's like screaming at you,
Basically.
like please God, like go to sleep.
Sleep debt is up through the roof.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But how often, like when you're working together on Fulcrum, like how often are you like remote to each other, and then how often are you actually like doing the work like in person?
It's a good mix. Recently, in the last couple of weeks, we've spent a lot more of our time in person than typical, mostly because a lot of what we do now is around like the hardware and enclosures. We have the boards in hand, so now it's a matter of making sure it's packaged correctly so we can get it up under your watch. So we spend a lot of time in person because there's just some things cameras aren't good at, and depth perception is a major one. When you've got a single webcam, for example, that's not something that works very well. So recently, we've been spending a lot more time in person, but I'd say on a regular week, it might be in person once or twice, remote the rest of the week. Especially since we have pretty different tracks of work that we work through right now together. It makes it relatively easy to kind of work in our own lane at our own pace asynchronously. But then we do have to come in person for sure.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And I think there's the fact of someone may be working on prototyping can look at something physical and go through it. But you want someone in person to kind of make sure. You want a second opinion always. And honestly, I mean, I always use my fiance as a third opinion, and it's just, the more people on it and the more ideas, even if, maybe you don't like the answer, there's always some valid and truth to it. So we try to expose ourselves to that as much as possible.
And we're very pro critical feedback.
Yeah. As much as it hurts.
As much as it hurts, yeah.
Yeah, as a guy I used to work with likes to say, feedback is a gift.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure,
Well,
sure.
if you ever want my opinion, just shoot me a text. I would be more than happy to lend any perspective that I can, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the only thing is since we're closing up and we're getting ready to ship, we really want to focus on getting demos and going out to people and really showing it off to people. We would love to attend Wind Up Watch Fair and other watch fairs, but we want to get this in people's hands and get that feedback as soon as possible, and we want to see what people's reactions are to it and what changes we can get. But I think that's our biggest step. 2026 is Fulcrum's going to be hitting the road and just, talking to anyone who wears a watch and just seeing, is this something that interests you, or anybody who wears an Apple Watch even too, is like, hey, do you want to get rid of that thing?
Right. It leads to a question that I have, which is how easy, in your opinion, is it to change the puck from one watch to another? Like as someone like myself, where I've got a little bit of a collection.
That is actually one of our favorite questions. This is also a huge design principle for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly
perfect.
easy. I have one on right now, and this is a prop. It has the microsuction, and it really just comes off. It's a hard press fit, and you might need to get a little leverage under it, but it's no more than just a little bit of a tug. And you just pop it off, and then you press it on your next watch.
That's awesome. And then like the second piece of that I was thinking was, like I'm going to wear it while I'm wearing a nicer watch. The one time I do not wear a nicer watch typically is when I'm in the gym. Actually, when I'm playing tennis, I'll wear like a particular Hermes sports watch. So like I've got that covered. But maybe like some way where I can take it off, put it into some kind of like rubber band, or when I'm at the gym. Have you guys thought of that already?
Yeah, we are going to be providing a sleep band, is what we're calling it. It's going to be an elastic or an exercise band. It's an elastic band that has a flat top that you can attach it to the surface, because we know you're not going to be wearing, like, you're not going to wear a Rolex to bed, or you don't want to. Maybe you are, but some people, maybe don't want to wear.
I wore a different one last night. I'll admit it. I sleep with my watches. Some people think that's weird.
But yeah, we want to provide an option, because we understand, like, maybe you want to go on a hike and it's hot and sweaty, or like you're going and roughing it out on the trails with like a dirt bike or something. We understand, so we want to give you an option as well.
Fantastic. You guys have already thought of that. And my last question, is it waterproof?
Yes, this is something we're going through testing with right now, but the intent is for X1 to be water submersible up to about 1 meter for 30 minutes, which means it would be enough for going for maybe a very light swim, or like if you want to leave it on in the shower for some reason under like the exercise band, totally acceptable. It is 100% also sweat proof, so you can completely work out in it or with it on and not have to worry about it damaging it.
We're planning on getting the certification, like the IP67, IP68, 69, that kind of stuff. And we're gonna get an official certification and give people, you know, an idea on what it is. But it definitely is water, dust resistant, and submersible.
Oof, I love it. Form, function, yes. And the best kept secret in all of watches is that those who wear dive watches don't actually dive ever. So it's really not a problem for 99.99% of people wearing watches. So that's great.
Yeah.
Won't be too much of a problem. Fantastic. Well, Tyler and CJ, this has been so fun, truly. I think this might be going down as one of my favorite episodes to date on the show. Y'all are awesome. You're building something amazing. I cannot wait to get my hands on the real product. So I just can't thank you guys enough for like taking some time in your morning to talk with me and share your truly like innovative approach to this product. And this episode is sponsored by DoorDash. It's not.
Yeah, that's fast.
It's absolutely
fed by
not.
DoorDash.
That's true.
For sure.
Fed by DoorDash. There we go.